My dad treated us like crap until his boss had dinner at our house. For 17 years, I lived with two different fathers, the perfect employee who preached about his perfect marriage and strong kids, and the man who made mom sob herself to sleep for buying the wrong coffee brand. Mom learned to time grocery shopping before his Thursday bowling league, knowing he'd be rushed. Once, she forgot. Dad discovered generic pasta instead of name brand. You're too stupid to even shop right. No wonder you never amounted to anything. He made her return every item while he watched, then quizzed her on prices to prove she was wasting his money. She cried in the car afterward. That weekend's company barbecue. I do the shopping because the wife gets overwhelmed by choices. His coworkers laughed at how understanding he was. My brother walked past Dad's home office during a virtual meeting, visible for just 2 seconds. Dad kept smiling, discussing collaborative workspace culture. The second he clicked leave meeting, he cornered my brother. You made me look like I can't control my own house. The belt came out. 2 weeks of complete silence followed. My brother stopped eating, stopped talking. At school, teachers thought he was just shy. I saved money from my part-time job for college application fees, knowing he'd never support it. He found them anyway. You think you're better than me? He burned them in the kitchen sink while I watched. Later, his boss asked about my plans. She's applying everywhere. We stay up late working on essays together. I nodded and smiled, knowing I'd missed every deadline. Two fathers. Only we knew which one was real. Then my dad announced, the CEO's coming to dinner on Saturday. After 10 years grinding for senior VP, a $100,000 promotion, it came down to this. The CEO was famous for his values-based leadership. He'd fired executives for screaming at waitstaff, passed over VPs for bad parenting in public. Now he wanted to see Dad's home life personally with a 3-hour dinner. One mistake, Dad hissed, and I'll make you regret it forever. But Dad had never maintained his perfect act at home for more than 20 minutes. Phone calls? Easy. Quick doorway chats? No problem. But 3 hours in his kingdom where he'd trained us to fear him? That's never happened before. I watched Mom's hands shake, my brother shrink into his chair. For 17 years, home was where Dad dropped his mask. Saturday, he'd have to keep it on for 3 whole hours. There was no way, right? We all prepared like our lives depended on it. Practiced conversations, rehearsed dinner etiquette, cleaned until the house looked like a magazine spread. I helped Mom cover the bags under her eyes. My brother practiced speaking in full sentences again. Dad was a wreck pretending to be calm. He'd bark orders, catch himself, force a smile. Remember, we're a happy family, he'd say through gritted teeth, the vein in his forehead pulsing. Saturday arrived and the doorbell rang. Showtime, Dad whispered, transforming into the man his coworkers knew. A warm smile with a firm handshake. Welcome to our home. The first hour was perfect. Dad told charming stories. We laughed at the right moments. Mom served flawlessly, but I watched Dad carefully, saw his jaw clench when my brother took too long answering a question. I noticed his knuckles whitening when Mom laughed too loudly at the CEO's joke. I watched that familiar vein start to pulse. By hour 2, cracks appeared. His smile became strained, his laugh forced. He was gripping his wine glass so tight I thought it might shatter. This was the longest he'd ever had to pretend in his own home, and it was killing him. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to wait. Then it happened during dessert. Mom served the CEO before Dad, a tiny breach of the protocol he'd drilled into us for days. I watched the vein in his forehead bulge, his knuckles go white, and then it happened. For God's sake, can't you do anything right? The words erupted like 17 years of suppressed rage. I work my ass off to give you this life and you can't even serve dinner properly? You're pathetic. All of you are worthless. The room froze. My brother started to hyperventilate. Mom's hands trembled as she set down the plate, and the CEO just stared. He saw that we were all terrified. His eyes moved from Dad's twisted face to Mom's terror, to my brother curled into himself. Understanding dawned in his expression. I think I've seen everything I need to see, he said quietly, standing. Dad tried to stammer an apology, but the CEO held up his hand. Your family has been very enlightening. Thank you for dinner. The aftermath was swift. Dad didn't get the promotion, but the real victory came when Mom filed for divorce. The CEO's written statement about what he'd witnessed guaranteed her full custody. 3 months later, we lived in a smaller apartment, but it was filled with something we'd never had: peace. Dad became a ghost at his company, his carefully crafted image in ruins. Turns out, 3 hours was all it took to lose everything he'd spent 17 years pretending to have.